There we go.
Hello.
I love when I make my own technology work by myself.
Your own technology?
Yeah, I'm technologically challenged.
He just figured out how to set this up when we're not in the same place.
Yeah, here we are back to the old days. I also look real freaking 80s right now with this t-shirt and this hair. Yeah.
I'm just enjoying some sunshine here.
I have sunshine somewhere. So, how's it going?
Good. Don't mind me. I'm at the park, so if kiddos start screaming, I'll be running to their aid.
I just may have a dog dying in the background, but it's all good. So, our topic today, all my exes live in Texas.
Is my beard blowing in the wind?
Yeah, your beard is just a whole, it needs its own whole screen.
Good. All my exes live in...
All my exes live in Texas. The question of the day, how many times have you been married? No. Our topic today, I called the X effect. How are, you like it? We should do a program called the X effect. If you have kids, your ex is going to come into play. I suppose if you don't have kids, you might let that happen, but I would suggest not. When you have kids,
I think we have the experience on my end where there's one with no kid and one with kid. And you don't hear from the one that doesn't have a kid.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can't get away from the situation. You can't deny it. I feel at times myself, and I would bet a lot of people can agree with me, that sometimes it feels like that person has like a fucking noose around your neck. Like you can't breathe, you can't move. I've had moments, especially last year when me and Tate were living in two separate places, where I was just like, I don't know how I could ever make it work with you, because I felt like I was in this person's cage and it felt so stifling. And I just start doing a doomsday rabbit hole of, I'll never get out of here. I'll never be happy. I'll never be free, blah, blah, blah. But the reframe on that I've been thinking about, because we've both been in the middle of some current issues, is that we left the relationship for a reason. That is the past for a reason. And although in the present moment, you still have to deal with them, it's up to you if you allow them to affect your future or affect you right now. And I know it's really difficult, and it's something that we teeter back and forth of being really good at this and being not so good at it, is you don't have to allow it to affect your present moment either, right? Like you could be annoyed by it and you could be frustrated by it, and then you could choose a different thought. But for me, it's the reminder that if you're letting it go back to what you felt like when you were in the marriage in the present moment, you have to just realize that you're allowing that. It's a choice. You left it. You're out of it. Papers are signed, right? So it's gone. But that's exactly what trauma is. We have trauma with that person. We get reactive, and in the moment you feel like you're back. So number one, just a helpful tip to everybody is like, take a breath, step back, and realize like, okay, even though this situation is frustrating, I'm not actually in relationship with this person anymore. I don't have to go sleep next to them or eat at the dinner table with them. So like, at least take in, okay, this is not what it was before, even though it feels like it. And then from there, try to make a better solution. And more importantly, and I'll let you speak after, sorry, I had a lot on my mind today, obviously. How do you not let that affect your current relationship? Because it could also completely take over. And that again is going back to, do you want to let that person that you knew you needed to separate from, get away from, get out of your life, now ruin your current situation, realizing that's your choice?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things here. One being that these scenarios, these exes actually can bring, the current relationship closer together, because it makes you grateful for what you have in the present moment. I also think there's something key with when you leave a relationship, you tend to, most people probably don't are able to just work through that trauma bond that they have from being with that person.
Oh, yeah.
So each interaction you're having after the fact is just going to bring you right back to the relationship. And we both know this as we speak with our exes. You know, it's like we're a different person. You probably think I'm different because of the way I communicate with her versus the way I communicate with you. And I know you're a completely different person the way you communicate with him versus me. So, you know, I think it's not just as easy as saying, oh, we're in a new relationship. It's really something that we have to like focus on changing, you know, how you even communicate with that person so that it doesn't affect, because as you and I both know, like 1 minute of speaking with these people just sets us, you know, into that kind of.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. And it's funny that you said like how you speak to each other. So that's even my point, is like when either of us get on the phone with the other person, we go straight to trauma, straight to reactive. In all honesty, it really is trauma. It's, you go into shutdown, you're in survival mode. So it's like you're doing whatever you used to do in that mode. And it's not how we talk to each other, because we don't speak to each other in survival mode. But that's my point, is that it takes a lot of work. And I'm not saying it's easy. And I'm really clearly not saying we're great at this. It's something that we're working on. Yeah. But I mean, to me, if you are divorced and you do have kids, something that is really, really, really worth working on, because you're going to be stuck with the situation for a very long time, is to not get stuck in that. Even in the reactive moments on the phone, you could be like, well, you know, this isn't my current partner. It is just my ex, and whatever, however we talk to each other. But again, when you get off, you're going to carry that. When you're in a reactive trauma zone, it stays there. And me and you could attest to that too. It's like you get off with the phone with the other person. Sometimes we're good at getting out of it in maybe 20 minutes or an hour. And sometimes it's like 3 days. And we don't do very well together in those 3 days that we don't come out of it, because then we're fighting, we're butting heads. This is not conscious shit that we do, but unconsciously, like, you're living in that trauma. So like we're fighting with each other now for no reason, like literally no reason, because our bodies are like reliving the story with that person. So that's like why I started off like this. Like, we need to realize you left that behind, and it's up to you to do a check-in. Like literally check yourself, like knock yourself upside the head for a minute, be like, whoa. I left her. I left him. We divorced, whatever thing happened, for a reason, which is we didn't work. It's not even about bad mouthing. Who cares? That's irrelevant too. Like, we don't need to like shit talk them. Like, just get nothing in them. Like, they're not here. We do have a situation. Look at it like a business agreement. We have a child. We have to have a plan of the things that we do, whether it's your holidays or your custody or your child support or whatever the fuck it is. We have to make a plan. Look at it like a business agreement. Like, let's go into it and do that. Because the moment that you let the reaction take over, it's putting you back in the old space. It's going to put you in a bad mood. It's going to make you depressed. It's going to make you angry. Maybe it's going to make you sad. Mine, for me, puts me back into fear. Like, mine goes in, yours gets you angry. Mine gets me really fearful. Like, I'm afraid the sky is going to fall. Like, nothing is happening in the world. And you know me, I'm almost like having heart palpitations. I go into fear zone, and it's like, for what purpose, you know? So I think it's a really important thing that we can share, you know, that reminder that that person can take you there, but it's up to you, your self-responsibility, to remember, okay, I'm not in it anymore. I don't have to feel stuck and stifled forever. It may be annoying, yeah, but it's not that same situation anymore. And we always have a choice. There is always freedom to get out.
Yeah, I think they're, you know, to close up, because I have 2 kiddos now that want me to play tag with them. It's a good moment. And you and I think, have gotten really good at this, is helping each other through those. I think at first we kind of let each other handle the situations. Like, I would let you scream at him. You would let me scream at her, whatever it is that we're doing. Now I think we've come so close that it's like, okay, and you do this pretty well with me. Like, hey, you got to learn to speak a little differently to her. And, you know, I've helped you manage your fear that he's just going to control you by saying he's not going to do that. So it's a real opportunity for your new partnership to actually see and realize the growth that you managed to make over the time after the old relationship, and see how far you've come. And it makes our bond unbreakable in my brain.
I'll wrap up real quick too with saying, I think something else that we've really worked on is, I mean, it's different when you're first in a relationship because everything with you is separate, right? You have separate houses, separate lives, separate bank accounts, friends, whatever. The closer you get, being married or even just living together or whatever, it's, you make a choice to be one with a person. So like, I always say, like, it's our kids, our problems. Your problem with your ex is our problem, and vice versa. So I think that's helpful to get on the same page. But I think something else that is also really hard, and I think we've come far on this too, is to be supportive of the other in the thing. And again, try to understand. Like, when I'm in my fear shit, sometimes Tate's looking at me like literally you're acting like there's a gun to your head. We're sitting on the couch. Like, what are you afraid of? It's silly. But for him to try to understand, but this is my reaction to how I spent 10 years. So to have understanding with me, or to give me grace, or even like gently try to help me, like, I think you're being a little bit crazy that you're scared. However, I know that you're scared. I get it. And I'm here for you. Same, like, I could see through, and he gets really reactive and angry on his end, where I get it. But to me, it's like, it's not an issue. Like, why even sweat it? But same, like, hey, I totally get why you're angry. If I had this happen to me that many times, I probably would be angry too. I get it. However, let me give you a different perspective, because we could ruin our day in anger, or we could chill out. So trying to understand the other and be supportive, because often it's really hard to see the person that you care about go through shit, or let them be controlled by it, because that's the problem. We're letting ourselves be controlled by the past. And you could look at that with resentment too and be like, I mean, I think I've heard that from so many couples, like, oh, the ex comes in and blah, blah, blah. And you feel like they have a controller connection because they can infiltrate the other's head. But instead of trying to shit on them for it, just understand and help them through it. And then, like you said, then this whole thing becomes a bonding exercise rather than, a path to breakup.
Let's get one thing clear. I've never called you crazy, and I never will. So.
Well, you might think it sometimes. I see that look in your beard.
All right, kid.
All right. Have fun in the park.
All right. I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
And we out.